Is that Dan? Looks a lot like my friend Dan. Woohoo! Dan, is that you? Oh my God. It is you. My God, how long has it been? Since before the collapse, for sure. How'd you find your way out here? Yeah, we all had to go through a lot of that stuff with the cannibals and everything else that were attacking our neighborhoods. We couldn't hold the place, and I knew I had told you beforehand to get out here if you could. So yeah, I was actually just coming back here. This is you're right by my campsite where I spent the night last night. So you were really close to finding me. So anyway, I was back here walking around, fixing to come back and check on my spot. I thought about staying here again, but man, all hell has been breaking loose. I mean, obviously, you know, if you've been going through this crap too, but around here, just holding the farm hasn't been as easy as I might have thought or expected in the past because, well, I guess you don't know, but we had a firefight here recently. And I was the one who engaged first, and now I'm kind of regretting that decision. For one, I didn't have very good cover. I was just panicking, man. I mean, my wife, she's still with me, she's still alive, and she was out in the back field in Sector 4, up in a sniper's perch that, you know, not really a sniper's perch, but more like just a place we had cleared out, an old hunting stand, an old deer hunting blind that was up in a tree. You know, we've set it up to where she can get up in there. And the problem is our radios were down that day. I don't know, one of us didn't get our radio charged or something. And in fact, I need to talk to her more about that. It might have been that, you know, these radios that we're carrying, you can easily bump the channel over to a different channel. So maybe she just bumped it as she was climbing up in the tree stand. I don't know, but basically these 4 guys with 2 hostages, 2 teenage girl hostages, came through our property. The way I was clued into it was, at the beginning, I was able to talk to my wife. She was telling me, hey, there's some strange people out here, so come back and check it out. And then they cut our fence, and that was the last time I had any communications, clear communications from my wife, other than her just keying her radio. So we were in, I was scared, man. I was trying to find my wife. I was worried that they had already gotten to her. I wasn't getting any radio communications or real consistent. I didn't hear her voice, so I wasn't sure if it wasn't them that had grabbed the radio. So anyway, I knew which direction they were going, so I got out in front of them, kind of out in a sort of an open spot. I shouldn't have made that mistake, but I went up on the edge of the woods. I wasn't expecting to see them when I did. I went up on the edge of the woods, and boom, there they were. 4 dudes and 2 females, and they were tied up, so we knew that they were like prisoners or hostages or something. Anyway, I opened fire. I knocked down 2 of them right off the bat. Now, all I had was the 10-22. I didn't have this with me. I wish I did, but I had the 10-22, and it did quite well. I just put them center mass, and I was triple tapping every one because I knew I was only firing a 22, so I better put a lot of lead in them. And anyway, knocked down 2 right away, wounded a 3rd one. And what I didn't know, I'm not sure I knew that at the time or not, but there was a 4th one who was lagging behind a little bit. And also the 2 girls, I didn't want to shoot these girls because, again, they looked like hostages or prisoners or something. So we managed to have this firefight, and just by the skin of my teeth. And really, I was feeling some of the shock waves coming off those bullets as they were going through the field there. I'm really surprised that me or my dog Chloe didn't get taken down during that exchange, because it was bad. It was really bad. But I think that I had the element of surprise on them, and also these guys were just like, I mean, they looked like farmers and normal people. They didn't look like military people at all. They hadn't, and I'm not saying that I am, because I'm not a military guy, but I do have a Army Ranger handbook, and I've been looking at some of that stuff and trying to learn about different tactics and strategies that I can implement here on my farm. And just to make things better, make it more safe for me and the wife. And so far, it's just me and her until you showed up today. So I know you said you had to go through a lot of shit to get here. I mean, did you see a lot of dead bodies along the way? Yeah, they're around here too, man. They're all over. You just can't avoid them. I mean, you really don't even have to see them. You can smell them way before you see them, and it's awful. There's days when the wind's blowing just right that I smell them all around here. And while I do still have my tractor, and I have thought about making like a big pit and burying them, the ones that are nearby me here, the problem is I need to save that tractor for, you know, emergency shit, man. If I have to go like, you know, killdozer style or something like that, if I have to put something on that tractor to make it where I can drive it down the road and ram it into someone's, you know, fortification or whatever, I don't want to use up my diesel. So that's why I haven't done anything like that so far. But anyway, back to the story where we were having the big firefight, and man, I was running across the field as fast as I could, and you know, I'm not a young man anymore, so that wasn't easy for me with all my gear and everything, and just you know, being older and not as in a good of a shape as I'd like to have been when this happened. But you know, I mean, unfortunately, you can't control when SHTF is going to happen. So anyway, let me take you on into my camp here, and we can sit down and get a drink of water and such. Man, I'm so glad to see you. Come on in. Yeah, hop a squat, man. Take a load off. It's a hot one. My temperature gauge, when I looked at it earlier, said it was like 99, but the humidity is real high because it rained a couple nights ago, as you know. I'm sure you were out in it. I do have a couple of dry shelters around here, and what we usually try to do, because we're spread so thin, it's just me and my wife, so we can't really ever stay in the same place. And so what we've been doing is I'll stay in one dry shelter when it's raining, she stays in the other one, and they're almost on opposite ends of the property. So we're starting to make a few bushcraft shelters around. Of course, I've got the teepee that I made a long time ago before the grid collapsed, and I'm glad I have that, because that's one of our places where it's not perfectly dry, but you can throw some lightweight plastic or tarps on there and it'll give you a place to at least stay relatively dry and warm. So of course, right now staying warm is not the problem, it's staying cool. And so we do have the pond still. I know you probably haven't been up that way. In fact, how did you get in here through the back? Oh, really? Okay, so you're saying all the roads around here are pretty much blocked off now? Because I do still have some gas in my black Chevy, but I'm trying not to use it. Same thing as the tractor, man. I don't want to use up all my gas, because then I may, you know, what if we couldn't hold this anymore and we needed to load up everything we have and everything we've gathered and get the hell out of here? Oh, that's concerning. Okay, I knew that there was talk of a civil war, but I wasn't sure it was like full blown at this point. But you're saying that there's people going around recruiting and, like, yeah, okay. Recruiting is not the right word, huh? Okay. They're basically capturing these people and forcing them into service. Okay, that's not good. You know, I have been hearing a little bit of airplane traffic I'd say the past week or so, but it's very little. And I thought I heard a helicopter, but it was out of view, so I wasn't 100% sure. But one thing I'm glad to say is we haven't seen very much technology. So whatever happened, I don't know if it was a cyber attack or what it was that caused everything to collapse all at once like it did. A lot of people are saying that, you know, the last administration that was in charge with Kamala and Biden and all that, they were the ones that actually did it and pulled the switch. There was some kill switch that I guess Obama put in there back in the day so they could kill the entire internet. I don't know. But let me tell you, yeah, back to the story I was telling you there, because I need you to know this. This is what's keeping me up at night. So the 4 guys, we put them on the ground. They're all dead. And we dug them back and we threw them in the farthest back ditch back there, where if anyone else, where they came through, if anyone else came through there, hopefully that'd be a warning to them that, you know, hey, you're gonna get killed if you go over that way. At least that was our thinking. It may have been a mistake, I don't know. But we took the 2 girls in for a few nights because they were nice enough. Anna and Christy were their names. You know, we didn't get really all the details or anything, but if I had to guess, I'd say they were, you know, 14, 15, 16 years old, somewhere around that age frame. Too young to be separated from their people that love them and care about them. So my main objective was trying to locate their people. But the problem was, and I can't remember the name of what that syndrome is. Maybe it's not a syndrome, it's just a condition where when you get captured by people, you start to sympathize with them and stuff like that. I think they had some of that going on or they had some sort of loyalty to that group who were treating them like prisoners and sex slaves and stuff like that. You know, that's what I presume was going on there. We didn't go into a lot of detail. We had them a dry place to sleep, and we let them stay for a couple of nights until their injuries and scrapes and bruises healed up. We gave them meals and stuff like that. Tried talking to them, but they were pretty closed off. They didn't really want to talk to us. I'm sure they were scared of us. I mean, we just killed the people that they came in with, whether they were captive prisoners or, you know, whatever the situation was there. We killed the people that they came in with, so I'm sure that was probably pretty scary for them. Well, on the third night, we were trying to kind of, you know, we thought, hey, enough time's gone by. They need to be able to kind of open up to us and tell us at least where they're from and what's going on. And they were just very tight-lipped about it. And the third night, I took off for a night patrol. I don't do them very often unless I have a good charged up flashlight and stuff like that, unless I'm ready to do it. And that night I did. And I went out, and when I came back, man, they had taken advantage of my wife. You know, I don't know. Girls know how to do that, manipulate and stuff like that. And they started once I left, they started opening up to my wife more and more. And my wife started letting her guard down more and more and more to try to understand and maybe help them out, help them find their people. Well, my wife let her guard down a little too much. And one of those girls picked up a big log that we were gonna burn in the fire that night. And it was one of the few nights we had actually a pretty good sized fire, and we boiled all kinds of water. Everybody had a bath. It was great. But I went off and I was doing my own thing. Anyway, they picked up a big log, hit my wife on the back of the head, took the gun that she was carrying, which was a lever action 22 that I loved. I can't believe they took that thing. Or I'm sorry, not lever, a bolt action 22 with a scope on it. It was awesome. And a handgun. She had a 38 revolver, a stainless steel revolver on her, so that's gone. They took, I don't know how they carried it, but they took several backpacks full of our food stores that we had out, that we were trying to, you know, help them recover. And so I feel like a damn fool, because basically what happened after that was a series of events that tells me that those girls went back to their captors and told them everything about us, because we have been under a steady stream of attacks. It's not been every day, but it's been about twice a week. Our defenses are being probed. So, man, I am really glad you're here, and I'm really terribly sorry to hear about, you know, your wife. And have you heard anything from your kids? Yeah, just as I thought, man. None of us knows anything. That's the problem. But I'm glad you're here. And, you know, do you have a gun? Okay. You do have a 40 on you. Okay. What else you got in your backpack there? Anything that's going to help us out? Did you happen to bring your radio that I gave you before everything went? No, you didn't get that out. I get it, man. I know. I'm not picking on you. I get it. You could only get out of there with your life, and that's good enough, man. We'll figure the rest of it out. I see you're wearing tennis shoes and shorts. We're gonna have to find you some pants if you don't have some, man, because these chiggers out here and ticks and stuff and mosquitoes will tear you a new one. And the problem is, we've got just this much DEET left. I don't remember what brand it is, off or whatever. We bought a whole case of that stuff for SHTF Survival just in this event, and we've almost gone through all of it in about 7 months' time now. So we're gonna have to start going out, and certain things we're gonna have to start going out and trying to acquire those things, either through bartering and trading or you know, scavenging. That's our choices. But now that you're here, we'll be able to do a little bit more of that kind of stuff. And man, I see you're really skinny, and we're gonna get you, you know, we're not gonna do it right away. It'll probably be over the next week or two. We'll get you fattened up. There's plenty of fish down in the pond. I know you love fishing, so you can help out with that. That'll be great, man. You're gonna be a great contributor to this endeavor here of survival. And I'm ecstatic. You know, did you see anyone else, any of her other friends along the way? Yeah, I was afraid of that. So much senseless death and just people just killing over the dumbest, smallest things that you'd have never thought of in the past. Yeah, we still have the solar up there in the front, so we can charge up some stuff that's, you know, that can take like a USB. I've got like 3 or 4 different USB cables, so different types. But that's a shame. Some things I can't charge because I don't have the right adapter. So something as little as an adapter. But the good news is that since most people have abandoned all technology, I should be able to find that type of stuff. The only thing I'm worried about is probably a lot of people took that sort of stuff for makeshift ropes and different things like that because they knew they weren't going to need it as a cable anymore. But yeah, as you can see, I've still got my AR here, my main carry. I've got another one, so don't worry. We're going to get you armed up. I was really careful when those girls were around. Anytime I went back and checked my cache, and actually I've got 3 of them now. I've got 3 different cache locations around here. And since I trust you and I know you, I'll be showing you where those are. And we'll go over, I'll draw you a map later on. We'll talk about how the wife and I have broken the land up into what we call sectors. And there's 6 different sectors on my land. I've got 100 acres, but we've broken it up into 6 different major sectors. And we'll kind of show you. We've put some markers out, but the markers aren't obvious for everyone. You're only going to see those markers if you're me or my wife or you once I fill you in on what they are. But we put some markers out to like mark the edges of each different sector so we can all start familiarizing ourselves for when we're doing radio talk and stuff. I mean, I've got my, what is this thing? Redivus radio always on me. The great thing about this is the battery life is really good as long as you're not using it, as long as it's just on standby. So, you know, the wife and I, while we'll talk and communicate a little bit throughout the day, we don't have big conversations like this unless we get face to face because, well, for one, the more you use the radio, the more the chances that someone else is going to locate you and triangulate you based on your signal strength and stuff like that. So we're trying to stay out of that. But yeah, man, I've always probably been a little too soft-hearted, and I was trying to help those girls because they reminded me of my daughter and your daughters and everyone else's daughters, and I thought, hey, I'm a dad, I can help this situation out. And as soon as you let your guard down, as soon as things started getting a little bit more comfortable and friendly with my wife, they turned on her. So let me tell you real quick about the reason that this is one of the best camping locations on this entire property. So at this point on the land, 360 degrees around you, we're at the highest point. So you're always looking down the hill. And the advantage, of course, that gives you is, you know, you've got a clear line of sight, you know, through some of these lanes that I put in down through here. So if you see something moving, there's a lane right down there where once they get in that lane, or maybe it's a deer or whatever, it gets in that lane, you can take it out. Of course, let me tell you right now, I haven't seen any deer. Since this whole thing went down, I think people have hunted them out. I've seen some carcasses. I've heard tale of people getting a few deer here and there, but now that there is no, you know, hunting season or, you know, any of that sort of stuff, no enforcement of any kind other than what you can enforce by force on your own land. Since that's the rule and the law of the land, people are killing everything that moves now. Dogs, cats. You don't hear dogs barking anymore. We still have Chloe. She's back there with the wife, keeping her company today because that dog, she's still young enough that she's a handful. She's really good at being a good guard dog though. So if she does spend the night with you one of these days or whatever, I'm sure she will. Anything that moves in the woods, she's going to let you know something's going on. So anyway, what I do up here, I'm usually a lot more quiet than this, obviously, but I'm just so happy to have someone else to talk to. What I normally do is about every 10-15 minutes, for one, I'm always scanning with my eye, my naked eye, and looking for movement. And my eye has really become attuned to seeing every little thing that moves in the woods, because that's all you have to look at now. But what I do is I get over here on my hill, and I've got my scope out here on my AR. What's that? Oh yeah, yeah, you think I've got my scope rings on, and I do, but they're clear, so I can actually see through them, and they're actually not clear, they're like tinted a little bit yellow, and what I find is it knocks down the glare, especially when I'm looking toward the sun. It knocks down that glare a little bit, and so I usually just leave these scope rings on there, and it keeps my scope nicer as well. But yeah, just scan down the hill, and I'm just looking for movement of any kind. And also, I swear, my hearing is 10 times better now than it was before SHTF. And I don't know if it's the fear that's driving that or what, but I mean, I just want to survive. I just want to be left alone. It's the same old thing that, you know, I guess our entire generation, Generation X, was kind of that way. You know, they called us latchkey kids because we could take care of ourselves. And it really, in a lot of ways, is no different, except for now I have to use a lot more primitive skills. And oh man, my wife was so smart. We got a lot of our survival books out of the house before we split, and I can't remember the name of the main one that I look at all the time, but I've got one up there that I've just about worn the pages out on because there's so many survival things. In fact, what am I doing? I'm being a rude host here. Oh, dropped my radio. Have you ever tried Switchel? Here, get a drink of that. Turns out it's like a 1800s energy drink that my wife figured out how to make. And I don't know all the ingredients, but I believe it has, definitely has vinegar in it, because you can taste the vinegar. What else is in that? I can't recall. Maybe a little bit of molasses or something. There's something a little bit sweet in there. But this Switchel, when you drink it, it's a little, you know, it's a little hard to take at first. And I like to kind of dilute mine down a little bit with water. But yeah, go ahead and get a sip of that. The stuff's not bad, and it basically replenishes your electrolytes and stuff. So apparently in the late 1700s, early 1800s, you could go out and you'd work all day and you'd drink this Switchel. At first I thought it was going to be like an alcoholic drink, but unfortunately there's no alcohol in it. It's just some kind of fruit. Is it sumac that my wife's putting in there? I don't know what she's putting in there. We do have sand plums. We have persimmons, but the persimmons are not in season right now. We have the prickly pear cactus. They're not as good, but they'll fill your belly if you get hungry and you're out here. You need something to eat, something to snack on. Oh, blackberries and mulberries. Of course, the mulberries are already done. Blackberries, there's still a few stragglers around, but they're mostly done by now. But we've saved a lot of them. My wife saved a whole bunch of them. We dried them out. One of the things that she did, we've got an old car up there that's not being used, and she was like, hey, don't you think we could use this to dry out our fruits and vegetables and stuff like that? I was like, let's try it. Excuse me. Yeah, pass me that Switchel. I need a swig of Switchel, and it's fun to say. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Anyway, we've been making the best of a bad situation, and that's all you can do. But that is concerning what you're saying about in the suburbs, they're going around and basically taking every military age man and recruiting them into this Civil War thing or whatever the hell. I mean, how do you even know which side you're fighting for and who's the good guy, who's the bad guy? I mean, is it clear cut? Is there like one side that's promoting the Constitution and the other side that's promoting like communism or something openly? Oh no, of course it's not that clear cut. It couldn't be that easy, could it? So you have no idea who these people are. I mean, for all you know, there's some local outfit that are just pretending and impersonating the military. So let me ask you this. Is there any chance any of those people could have followed you back here? Okay. Well, that's good. That's why you came up through the back. Okay, that makes sense. And the roads were probably impassable at that point. Did you just walk here? Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised you made it, man. Did you meet anyone friendly along the way? Okay. That's good. So let me tell you about this. There's a little glimmer of good news. After those girls hit my wife over the head and took off with our stuff, I sort of tried to track them down, but after I got out of the property, you know, I don't know, I got onto the neighbor's property a little bit and I started getting a little wormy and nervous because I didn't recognize any of the surroundings. So I came back. After that, my wife and I went out and started talking to more people around here. And I didn't bring this. I did bring my pistol because you don't leave your house without some sort of a sidearm or something. But I went up, you know, put my hands up, said, hey, man, I come in peace. I just want to talk to you, see what you think about this, talk to you guys and see, have you been getting attacked and stuff? And turns out they have as well. So it's not just me. Apparently several of the neighbors around here are being attacked by this group where these teenage girls went. And I don't know what to call these people. They're just assholes. Just a group of assholes that they're taking stuff from other people, and that's their whole survival plan. They just go around pillaging, robbing and raping and stealing their young girls for sex slaves. And obviously we're not going to put up with that around here. So I talked to, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 different neighbors. And out of those 3 or 4, 2 of them are now what I would consider allies. We've been working together, doing a little bit more bartering and trading and stuff like that, and just helping each other out in general, you know, that sort of thing. Just going over, I went over and looked at one of my neighbor's defenses and kind of talked to them about that, and I showed them my Army Ranger handbook, and I told them up front, I'm like, look, man, I'm not a military guy. I come from a military family, so I do know a lot of stuff just that I learned kind of in the background. But, you know, I never went through basic training or SEER training or any of that sort of stuff. So this is it. This is my SEER training right here. And one of those guys has military experience, and his place was pretty well set up. The other guy didn't have any, and he wasn't talking to anyone. But yeah, we broke through to him, and I went over there and talked to him and showed him that Ranger handbook and just some different things they can do to help fortify and help funnel people down. So if you've got a big group of people and you can funnel them down into a smaller area, then it's easier to open up on that smaller area and take more of them out. You know, kind of that Leonidas, you know, the Spartans, where they took them through Hell's Canyon or Hell's Gate or whatever it was called, and they narrowed down that entire army to where it was a even match for the Spartan army to be able to defend, you know. And I'm not saying that we're on that same level, but that's the kinds of stuff we're trying to do. And, you know, I shared that with Bill over there, and he was super grateful. He's an older guy, but he's a farmer and he knows a lot of stuff, and they had a lot of stuff put up. Him and his wife are old school enough that they have been canning tomatoes and pickles and all sorts of stuff for years and years. So they have a pretty good stockpile of that sort of thing. And it's been nice to be able to get some fresh canned stuff instead of the stuff that comes from the aluminum or the metal can that you buy at the store or you used to buy at the store. That stuff, man, it has a taste to it after this much time. You know, I mean, it's just, I mean, I know we're not storing it in the best of conditions, but Bill actually has a root cellar over there. So he's definitely going to become one of my top allies, and he's my closest neighbor. He's not directly next to me, but he's 2 properties over, and the property here in the middle appears to be abandoned. So him and I may divvy that up in the future and figure it out for, you know, because like I said, he's a farmer, so he knows how to grow stuff a lot better than I do. He has seed stockpiles and different things like that. So I would like to start building a community with people like that. Like-minded people that are willing to work, that will, you know, put in the work when it comes down to it and not hit you over the head and steal your shit from you. That's the problem. So it's a risky game that we're playing right now. But anyway, we've made enough noise here and sat here and had a chat for a while, but I think it's time we go on up front, and I'll get you your own glass of Switchel, and you're going to blow my wife's mind whenever I tell her that Dan showed up. In fact, I'm going to tell her right now just so she doesn't start opening up, but she might open fire on us if she sees two people. Hey, you're never going to believe who showed up here. Hey, you got your ears on up there? Come back. Well, I don't hear you. I know you were down by the pond talking about taking a bath and such, so we're not going to hurry up there or anything, but my good old buddy Dan showed up, and I'm really excited about that. So he's going to be able to help out a lot. Just having more people around here is going to be able to help to divvy out some of the responsibilities, and things are looking up. So go ahead and take your bath. We'll slow walk up there, get your stuff ready, and we're going to have a big dinner tonight. We're breaking out the good stuff. Yeah, she was talking about taking a bath, so I expect that's what she's doing. She's probably down there in the water. So yeah, we're not going to run up there on her real fast like or anything, but we're going to stop by on the way. We're going to stop by and get you armed up properly, get you your own AR and a few magazines you can carry around, just make you feel better. I bet walking around with that 40 caliber, you feel awfully naked, especially with those shorts and tennis shoes on, man. How the hell did that happen? You always wear boots and blue jeans, but I guess they literally caught you with your pants down, huh? So, all right, well, let's get up front and let's go get us a meal.